Wonder Woman, starring Linda Carter, and Incredible Hulk, starring Bill Bixby, will return at their regular times next Friday evening on most of these stations.
Okay, folks, we have a little more to chew on now. Nothing really new information-wise, but I think we've been able to analyze things a bit more, and some folks have come with some interesting theories there on the YouTube channel, The Final Frontier. The guy there has come up with a pretty decent theory to explain the Klingons a bit more, namely of why we're getting these. I'm going to call them Cro-Magnon Klingons, if that's really or maybe Neanderthal Klingons. That might be a way to put it. So, because Sleestak Klingon seems a bit demeaning. But basically, the theory being, and also explain why they would have something called a sarcophagus ship. Given Klingon attitudes towards the dead and the afterlife, that doesn't make any sense. However, he posits the theory that what we're dealing with is a pre-warp sleeper ship. And there's sarcophagus, just basically what translates as the Klingon term for the sleep tube, the cryo tube. So basically, we got a Klingon ship, pre-Kahless, I think. Because follow me on this. Well, it's generally assumed that Earth and Kronos got warp capability at roughly the same time. That doesn't mean that the Klingons weren't a spacefaring race long before that. For instance, there's a number of points in our history where, just think the number of dark ages we've gone through, where all the data, all the information we had was lost, had to be rediscovered 1,000 years later. Imagine if that hadn't happened. If Rome never, if Rome never fell, or the Egyptians or the Greek civilization never collapsed, all that information, the Library at Alexandria hadn't been sacked and burned to the ground by those bastards. Yes, I'm still mad about that. It's a couple thousand years ago. And he still had all that information from the Greeks, and the ancient Greeks. We could have been on the moon by the 1800s. Think about that for a second. But so imagine the Klingons and never went through a dark age. They could have been spacefaring for centuries, before they discovered warp drive. Because warp drive could be just one of those things where it just takes a while to figure it out. Sorry about that. And some races take to it faster than others. So we could be dealing with a ship full of ancient Klingons and a sleeper ship that gets lost. That old chestnut. It's been done a few times, even in Star Trek. And either the crew of the Discovery and or the crew of the Ascension come across it and have to deal with it. But I also wonder just how much of an impact they're really going to have, because looking at IMDb, what they have for Star Trek Discovery, we got all the Federation actors. Everyone signed up for 13 episodes, except for our main Klingons, who are only signed for 2 episodes. And James Free and Sarek is only signed for 1 episode. So that makes you think a little bit. I think as far as Sarek goes, it means maybe damage will be reduced and that he won't be there long enough to contradict anything. Could be, he's there as an astrophysicist, but then figure, okay, enough of this. I got to get back to an ambassadorial duty. My kid just got assigned to the Enterprise. I got to go. So we see him for 1 episode and he's gone. Enough to establish a timeline, but there we go. But if the Klingons are only there for 2 episodes, or at least these Klingons. And also another theory floating around is, I was trying to explain the Shenzhou, is that the Shenzhou and the Discovery are the same ship. One of them, gets damaged horribly and rebuilt and renamed. And I don't buy that really for a bit, because one, I think it's really kind of bad luck to rename a ship. They would just rebuild it and send it back out. They're the same name. But also, it's like I said, Michelle Yeoh, 13 episodes. Jason Isaacs, 13 episodes. For this theory to work, someone's got to die. And it's neither one of these guys, and none of the other, Federation types. They're all there for all 13 episodes. So I think we are talking about 2 different ships. It may be 2 different timelines, or spots in the timeline, but I don't think we're not talking the same ship. I think unless we're doing we're jump back and forth in the timeline. Which I don't think that's too convoluted to really even think of. Another interesting thing on the IMDb page is Gene Roddenberry is credited in the writing credits for 9 episodes because of characters, apparently. I guess there are 9 episodes where they refer back to original series characters, and he has to be cited. So, there goes that. Well, basically, things might not be quite so dire after all, if this theory holds out about the Klingons. Then there's plenty of other things we can still bitch and moan about, but at least this one might not be the disaster we're thinking of here. Another little tidbit is Scott Bakula at the Vegas Con really dropped a little bombshell that's just now coming out. Edit that part out. Okay. Alright, we're getting SIM cards. We're going to knock this off for the thing cutting off. Okay. Bakula on Discovery this year, I don't see it happening. One, Fuller's no longer there, so they can't do that promise. But also, I think the stories are pretty much mostly been written here. So I think next year, maybe. But this year, no. But, yeah, with the sleeper ship idea for the Klingon ship, yeah, I think that might work. If it's true. We don't know what these guys can steer yet, so. But, yeah. Hopefully, this won't be the train wreck that rumors now say it's happening. And I also wonder how long they can maintain the lieutenant commander as the lead character. When you got someone like Jason Isaacs as the captain, I think we're going to have something next gen. Riker's supposed to be the lead on that. Captain was supposed to be a support character. And you get Patrick Stewart, guess what? He takes over. So, we'll see what happens.